Wow, what a day. I mean, what a spectacular day this is. Thank you, Dr. Wen and Rick, for your beautiful presentations. And it's just been an amazing experience for me to sit here and listen and enjoy your, oh, it's just so inspiring, but also mildly intimidating to speak after both of you. I truly believe that for all of us, kind of our lives and perspectives are a result of our experiences. And, both of you proved that in your presentations. But, when I look back on, kind of the reason I think a lot of people are familiar with me, it's not usually because of my skating. A lot of it has to do with the fact that, well, let me just go back. I have a really crazy friend, and he has all these odd perspectives, and he's the kind of friend all guys have to have, right? So when I was dating Tracy, who would become my wife for just a few weeks, we're sitting there watching sports, and my friend, he leans over and he goes, "Hey, you're gonna marry her?" And I go, I don't know. I mean, we've only been dating a few weeks. And he goes, "Have you looked in the mirror lately? These are friends men have to have, but women want no part of having friends like that." Another time we were sitting there and he said, "Okay, here's my latest thing." And I said, "What's your latest thing?" And he goes, "Personal ads." I go, "Personal ads? That's not a latest thing. I mean, you remember personal ads? Well, you go, do you remember newspapers? Okay, well, you'd put an ad in a newspaper, just putting yourself out there, hoping somebody would take interest in you." And he said, "Well, here's the thing is you got to be 100% honest. Okay, 100% honest in your personal ad." And I thought about it for a few moments, and he said, "You ready?" And I go, "I think I've got it." And he said, "Okay, let's hear it." I go, "Okay. Short, bald, half neutered, chemoed, radiated, surgically repaired, retired male figure skater of unknown ethnic origin seeks a beautiful, intelligent woman for long walks, laughter, and an interest in my hobby of collecting life-threatening illnesses." I guess when you've been in hospitals and as sick as much as I have, I think people end up looking, okay, how do we do this? And again, going back to, we're so much a product of our own experiences. So I was unknown ethnic origin. Okay, I was an oops. I was basically unintended, unwanted as a baby, and so I was put up for adoption. And my parents adopted me at 6 weeks of age. And I remember it like it was yesterday. Oh my goodness, they brought me home in this little warm blanket, and they showed me to my sister, who was born of my parents. And she took one look at me and she said, "He's not very cute. Can we take him back and exchange him for another baby?" Welcome to the family. Well, a little time in therapy, we got through that. But, growing up as an adopted child, you really don't know, right? You don't know kind of what to expect. And so, I was active, I was growing, but after about 4 years, they realized that I really wasn't growing anymore. And so they got concerned. And because they didn't have any health history, it was doctor to doctor to hospital to hospital to hospital, 4 years of in and out of hospitals. And they really came up with no real diagnosis. They just sent me home. And so dear family friend told my parents they needed a morning off. And so there was a brand new facility at the university where they taught kids how to skate. So that would give my parents a morning off. I was going to go and be with all these well kids. And oh my goodness, what an experience that was, just to be able to get on the ice with well kids and realize after a few weeks I could do something as well as they could. And then after a few more weeks being able to skate as well as the best athletes in my grade. And oh my goodness, self-esteem for the very first time. So, fast forward, my health got better and everything was great. And my mom was there every step of the way, center of my universe. She sacrificed and supported everything. She ended up much later on losing her battle to cancer. And it was devastating. I didn't know what to do with that grief. And so I went for a walk, and I decided that up to this point, I'd been a miserable failure in skating, and I needed to be the person that she always thought I could be. And so I woke up and I went to work, and the results followed. I was able to make it to the Olympic Games 3 years later. And then 4 years after that, I had a really good run, and I ended up winning an Olympic gold medal, which was, to this day, what in the world. I was able to build a professional career. And then it gets into, now I'm diagnosed with cancer 20 years after I lost my mom to the same disease. And it's like, how am I going to do this? Well, she came back. And she taught me how to go through my cancer. She would say things like, oh, this chemotherapy, I finally found a way to lose all this weight. Oh, this chemo, I've wanted to quit smoking. Now I have no desire. Oh, I love this chemo. I've always hated my hair. These wigs are so beautiful and so much easier. And she got me through my cancer 20 years after she was gone. And I remember these things. And, you know, I get married and I have a family and you know, I'm diagnosed with my first brain tumor. And the fear was extraordinary. My wife just, as soon as she heard the news, took both my hands and started to pray. And I knew in that moment where I was going to take everything from that, because the power in that moment was so incredible. 6 years later, I have another brain tumor. This one is treated with surgery. Didn't go very well. So 9 surgeries later, I'm finally sent home. 6 years later, another brain tumor happens. And this time it just felt like, they're giving me all the options for treatment. And all I kept hearing in my mind was get strong. So I didn't know if that meant physically, emotionally, intellectually, or spiritually. And so I chose E, all the above. And it was right after that I said, no, we're not going to do treatment right now. And I got to get the word out because, you know, I don't want to have to talk about this a lot. So I'm going to do it once. And I did it for people.com. And that video was kind of miraculously shared viewed 35 million times. So what was in that video that really allowed people to be interested in it? And it was the response to the challenge. You know, if my children ask, is your brain tumor back? I go, yes, it is. Let's do this. What's that all about? And it's just talking about how, you know, being in the moment and how really understanding our lives from a very specific point of view will allow us to just really embrace them and to live our days. Our bodies are incredibly fragile, vulnerable, incredibly phenomenally resilient. We know that, but ultimately temporary. And so it's up to us to find ways to live our days. And so it was right after that video kind of went viral. I met with a group and they wanted, you know, to launch this whole attitude, live your days. And I just felt it wasn't the right time. And then when COVID hit in month 2, they called me back up again and they said, now? I said, now. People really need to understand the power in the moment. And so as we build our platform on those 4 principles, those 4 identities of physical, emotional, intellectual, and spiritual, and to be totally invested, it's amazing what it can do to strengthen up. You know, think about it. If each one of those was a leg of a chair and one was missing, you're probably going to fall over. So we're here through Live Your Days to really celebrate life and to give people unique perspectives on not only their identities, but to be inspired by other people's stories. We've had so many great conversations, you know, talking with Robin Roberts about her journey and thrivership and everything that she experienced and endured up through her cancer first experience, and her second one where she inspired, you know, I don't know, countless numbers of people to become bone marrow donors. One of them is right here in my house, a woman I work with, Michelle, who just was able to share her gratitude to Robin for that message. Faith leaders like Bart Millard of Mercy Me, talking about his, you know, being a product of child abuse and a broken home, and how he just feared and despised his father until he realized that they were able to redeem their relationship through faith and his bout of pancreatic cancer, to the point where that man that he feared and despised was the man he wanted to become. Christy Yamaguchi, you know, born with deformity in her feet. How does she become an Olympic champion? We share all of that. And Miles Adcox of Onsite, you know, shares about how we deserve to feel good about ourselves and to know ourselves well enough to know that we are amazing people that should live our lives fully, and on and on and on. And, you know, the more we got into this platform, we realized that our days are so specific and so filled with promise. Each and every one just holds the opportunities to experience incredible joy or to inspire someone else to experience their own joy. Is just like, it's the summation of all those experiences of being in hospitals, meeting so many people, and understanding that, you know, as Rick said, we're all in this together. We're all in this together. And it's better when it's a shared experience. You know, my coach always told me that the human is a social animal and needs other humans to survive. And I thoroughly believe that. And if we can get to a point where we can all understand our own lives better, like Bart Millard said, he said, you know, Jesus tells us to love each other as we love ourselves. And he said, I really believe people do that extremely well. The problem is they don't love themselves very much. Big problem. But I see things totally different. I see each day as a promise, each day as something to be embraced, because we only have so many of them. And, you know, as Greg Shett said in the introduction, you know, we don't choose the number of days we have on this earth. We only get to choose how we live them. And so I'm here to, encourage, I'm here to inspire, and I'm here to motivate. Everything I've experienced, everything that I've overcome has allowed me to truly be able to articulate this in ways that probably most people can't. But every condition is meant to be risen above, and every day is meant to be loved. And I so appreciate, Mark, this opportunity to speak to your peeps, and hopefully I'll get to meet them someday in the very, very near future. My goodness, God bless you all. Thanks for this opportunity.